Welcome, fellow bookworms, to Tibra's Den. My name is Whitney, and it is time for another roll for reading. I've done this twice now, and both times I really enjoyed myself. I liked the books I picked. It really, being very mindful about the location I was reading, the snacks I was making, the drink I had, really enhanced the experience of reading these books. And I had a fantastic time doing it, so I want to do it again. It's the middle of May right now, but I probably won't do this till June. And so I really, depending on the locations we get, if we get outside locations, I might veto them. We'll just have to see what we get and kind of how it works. So if you didn't see the other two videos, this was actually inspired. Sarah Hart's books found this creator who does this roll for sandwiches, Adventures in Arden. And so she did a video where she was rolling for her reads, and that inspired me to go check out Adventures in Arden, and I decided I wanted to adapt it to my reading as well. So I'll link both of those channels down below, of course, because they were the inspiration for this. So basically, we are doing 6 different categories. So first I will use a D6 to roll for my format. Then I will use a D12 to roll for my genre. Another D6 for my age demographic. And then I'll roll 2 D12s for my location. So I can get 2 locations. There's also one which happened last time where I might get more than that as far as locations. Then I'll roll a D20 for a wild roll, which just has a variety of different things, and then another D20 for my snacks. So let's go ahead and get you over to the dice, and we'll see what the dice have in store for me this time. All right, so we have my dice here. So we'll move these two for now, and we're going to start with our D6, and this is for the format. So let's go ahead and see what we get. A 6. So that is my choice. That's a fantastic start. Then we're going to roll our D12 for our genre. Let's see what we get there. Okay, that's a 10. So that is dark romance. Okay. Then we're going back to my D6 for age demo, but because it's a dark romance, we'll just have to see what works here. We'll kind of see. 3. Okay, a young adult dark romance. Let's see how that goes. And then I need to do 2 D12s to determine my location. So 3 is my reading room, which is where we're at right now. And then my second location is going to be, that's a 9, which is re-roll 2. So I'm going to have 3 locations. Let's see here. 1 is in bed, the reading room, in bed, and 11 is a business. So like go to a restaurant or something and read there. There's that. And then we have our first D20, which is our wild roll. Go ahead and see that. That is 11, which is, oh man, reset and re-roll all. So we start completely over here. All right, so we gotta start all over again. So again, first up is our format. So 2 this time is an audiobook. Then we have our genre. Okay, 5 is a horror, so a horror audiobook. Then we have our age demographic. See how this goes. Ooh. Try that again. Fell on the floor. Okay, that was a horrible roll, but we get... Okay, I'm re-rolling that because that was a horrible roll and that's children's. I'm sure I can find a children's horror, but I'll just have to see. K2 is a middle grade horror, which is slightly better. Okay, and then 2 locations on our 12-sided die. First one is 2, which is bedroom chair. And the second location is 5, which is, let's see here, the front yard, which actually isn't so bad for summertime because we get a lot of shade in the afternoon up there. So that's actually pretty good. Now back to our wild. Let's see what happens again. Okay, so we have 5, which is YouTube as background noise. And finally, we get our snack roll. Let's see what we're going to get. 18 is a butter tortilla. All right, let me figure out what I'm reading and I will be right back. All right, I actually just realized my wild roll won't work because I've got audiobook for my format. So I am going to re-roll that real quick. Let's go ahead and see what else we get. Oops. That is 12, which is minimum 200 pages a day. I think that will work. I'll be right back. All right. So, yeah, that was not as interesting as last round, but still had some curveballs thrown in there. But I did find something that worked. So, first up for our format, of course, as you guys saw, we originally got a 6, which would have been my choice, which I would have loved, but because of our wild roll during that first round, we did have to re-roll, and so we got 2, which is an audiobook. Then we rolled initially a 10, which would have been a dark romance, but again, had to re-roll that, so we got 5, which was a horror. And then we rolled a 3, which I originally said was new adult. It's actually young adult, but again, which wouldn't work really well with dark romance, but that one, it worked in our favor that we had a reroll. So then we rolled a 2, so we needed a middle grade horror. Then our locations, we initially rolled a 3, which was the reading room, which is right here. And then I got a 9, which was reroll 2. We keep that original roll, but then we reroll 2, so we would end up with 3 locations. And we got in bed and then out of business. Again, had to reroll that. So our next time we got 2, which is in my bedroom chair, and then 5, which is in the front yard, which actually works out in the summer because that's shaded in the afternoon. So that will actually be nice. Or I could go get some vitamin D in the morning. We'll just have to see. Then 5 initially was when we got that 11, which was reset and reroll all. So we did all our rerolls, and then when we did do our reroll, we got 5, which was YouTube as background. I didn't realize that at the time, but we got audiobook, so having background noise is not going to work in this case. So I did reroll that, and it's a minimum of 200 pages a day. I'm not sure how many pages the book I'm going to be reading is. It is a middle grade. I do have the first book here, trying to see how many pages it is. So it is, the first book is just over 200 pages. So I'll probably try to read whatever I get. I'm assuming it's going to be similar page count. I'll look it up after this and I'll insert the page count of what it is now. But I'm assuming I'm going to have to read it in one sitting, because if I have to have a minimum of 200 pages and I read like 200 pages and then the next day just have like a small amount, I won't meet that minimum. So I'm going to have to read it all in one chunk unless it's over 400 pages, which I seriously doubt. So there's that. And then for my snack, I got an 18, which is a butter tortilla. We say things funny in this house. We know how they're pronounced. It's tortilla. We call them tortillas. Like, we know that's not correct, but it's just a husband and I thing. So as far as the book I'm going to be reading, as soon as it said middle grade horror, I think I have the perfect option for this. We were in my family book club last year. We read Small Spaces by Katherine, Arden. So I'm going to be reading the second book in this series, which is Dead Voices. Obviously, I'm going to be listening to it via audio. I did also, I had like $10 at Barnes & Noble, and I like having the physical copies of books, even if I'm listening to them audio or whatnot. So I actually used that, and I got the physical copy for free, and then I just paid for the audiobook. But I've been wanting to continue this series, so this is actually a good way to do that. Right now, when I'm filming this, it's like May 18th. I'm not sure if I'll get to this month. It probably won't be until June, but I'm about to do my June TBR, and I just like to have an idea of my plans. But I have a stack of books that I'm still working my way through for the rest of May. There's a chance I might get it done in May, but I'm not holding my breath for that. So likely June. But of course, for you guys, you don't know the difference because it's just a second for you guys. But I'm really excited to continue the series. So in this first one, we're following Ollie, and basically in this first one, they're on a school trip, and they go to like this. I'll just read the synopsis. It'll be easier. It's with this At night they will come for the rest of you. It's with this ominous warning that 11-year-old Ollie and her two friends Coco and Brian set out on a chilling adventure in the woods, with nightfall fast descending and the ever-watchful eyes of scarecrows on their back. What has begun as an unremarkable school trip to a nearby farm soon becomes a frightening journey into the world behind the mist. In order to survive and not remain trapped there forever, Ollie and her friends need to be quick on their feet as they work to unravel a 100-year-old mystery, save their classmates, and beat the villainous smiling man at his own game. Small Spaces is a deliciously creepy and hair-raising tale that readers won't soon forget. So that was the first one. And so Dead Voices is the second one. And like I said, I'm not entirely sure what that one is about. But we're obviously going to be back with Ollie and her friends. And this was very, like, creepy vibes, like perfectly sinister for a middle grade. Like, my sister, my mom, and well, my mom didn't read it. That's right, she didn't read it. So it was my sister. I think my niece did read this one, but we all enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to continuing this series, and then of course there's 2 others as well. So, but yeah, perfect middle grade horror for this prompt, and I'll be listening to it, and I'm really looking forward to that. So, like I said, I'll be for just a second for you guys, and I will meet you either outside or in my reading room or my bedroom chair, and I'll meet you there up next once I am ready to start this. All right, so it is finally time for me to read my book. I have it right over here. So this is more a reminder for myself because it's now June 11th, so, and I did the rolls back like middle of May. But I did roll to listen to an audiobook that needed to be a middle grade horror, and so of course we went with Dead Voices. Of course, I went with Dead Voices by Katherine Arden, which is the second book following Small Spaces, which really enjoyed. We read that one for a family book club. And this works, so I was excited to get it. I rolled in here in the bed. Well, you guys saw the rolls, but I had to reset and re-roll everything. And so my locations ended up being in here in the bedroom chair. And I also need to go out front. It is hitting the hundreds now at this point. So I'm going to start in here, and then about 8 o'clock or so, excuse me, my nose is, allergies have been really bad lately as well. About 8 o'clock or so, when the sun's starting to go down and it's cooling off, I'll move out front because right now it's just way too hot, and it's not quite shaded enough. I would have to be like right up against the house, and I don't want to do that. So we're gonna start in here and then move out there, like to kind of watch the sunset and such. But I'm excited to finally get to this. I did not have, so I rolled tortillas and butter. We don't have any tortillas currently, so I just did bread and butter. So that's gonna be my snack. Nina's like, yeah, we're gonna have that snack. She'll definitely get pieces of crust and such. So this is gonna be my snack while I read. I do have water. Water doesn't count. You need to stay hydrated. So I do have my water over there that I'll sip on. And I can't just sit and listen to an audiobook. So I think, when was it? Like a week or so ago, for Christmas, my brother-in-law and his girl had gotten me like this little knitting kit, and I knitted this cute little fox. And since I can't just sit and listen, I need to be doing something with my hands. I decided I'm going to knit, and I haven't knit in years. And so I was looking for my stuff. I thought it was in our bedroom closet. It's not there, but I had a couple bags, the projects I had started. So I'm going to be knitting. This is a project. I'm hoping I just did like the classic stitch when I was doing this project. I'm not entirely sure. But it looks like I'm switching between like a light yellow and a golden yellow. So I'm going to pick back up this project. We'll just have to see how it goes. I'm assuming this was going to be a blanket. I'm assuming I was making it for my grandma because she loves yellow as her favorite color. So I'm going to pick this back up, and maybe I'll make this for her for this year. We'll just have to see how it goes. So like I said, I hope that it was just a simple stitch. And it does look like I was doing two and then two. So we'll see how it goes, but it'll keep my hands busy. And originally my wild role was to have YouTube as background noise. I can't do that with an audiobook. So I did re-roll, and we have to do a minimum of 200 pages a day. This is only 236 pages, so I will be finishing it today. It's about 4:30 right now, so it will put me right into bedtime, but this is how I'm going to spend my evening, knitting and listening to this audiobook, snuggling a little pup. Probably will stop for dinner at some point. But for now, I got my water, my snack, and my project, and I'm going to get to listening to it, and I'll check in when I'm kind of ready to move to outside or whatnot. So this is what we're going to be working on. All right, so we have changed locations. My husband's cooking dinner right now. I thought I'd just sit out here and listen. I have about an hour left of the book, according to the audiobook. Sorry, there was a tarantula hawk, which, if you don't know what that is, don't look it up. They're really creepy. It's a type of wasp. But anyway, I have 80 pages left according to the physical book. And like I said, about an hour left on the audiobook. I did go to 1.5 times speed. I don't normally do that, but I did want to finish before bedtime because my husband and I are going to start Operation Bounce House by Matt Dinniman. We're done with the Dungeon Crawler Carl books. So we're going to start that tonight. So yeah, according to the physical books, I have 80 pages left, and it's finally starting to cool off out here. I hope that wasn't a tarantula hawk. It was finally cooling off out here, so I'm just going to sit out here and listen until my husband tells me dinner's ready, eat dinner, and then I'll finish up the audiobook after that. But really enjoying it. They did use, because it's like they're trapped in this mountain cabin, and it's like a snowstorm, and so they're trapped. There's no power, and they keep seeing Ollie and Coco keep seeing like ghosts and such. And so at this point, they've learned a little bit more about the history of the resort and such, and things are happening at this point. Obviously, 80 pages left. And so yeah, really enjoying it. They did use a Ouija board, and I don't know how I feel about that in a middle grade. So there was that, but past that, like a nice spooky vibes, which I really enjoy. I like the snowed in, like I love that in books, and I enjoyed them learning about the history of the place and that history, and it's creepy and such. So I've enjoyed that. And Ollie's still dealing, like in the first book, she lost her mom. And so she's still kind of navigating that grief and such, and seeing her father interested in somebody else potentially. And so she's trying to navigate that and such, but really enjoy it. So I'm just going to sit out here until my husband tells me dinner's ready and continue to enjoy the book. And I'll check back in when I'm done. All right, so I have finished Dead Voices. I really enjoyed this. I think I'm going to give it 4 stars. I can't remember what I gave Small Spaces, but I think I enjoyed that one a little bit more than this one, because this one, my whole thing, like I enjoyed the vibes of it. It was great, secluded, isolated cabin, snowstorm, trapped, and then like the ghosty vibes and the history of the place and such. I really enjoyed that. My problem with this one is the parents were there, and just some of the choices that were made, like it wasn't very realistic for those parents to make those choices. So when the strange man shows up, he's like, I'm a journalist, I do a ghost hunt basically. And then they're like trying to figure out the generator and get firewood and keep the fire going so they can stay warm and such. And he takes the kids on a ghost hunt. I'm like, you want to just let your kids go off on a ghost hunt with a strange man? Like that just no, it rubbed me the wrong way. And I didn't really like the Ouija board being included in this. Like if you don't believe in that at all, like anything, like obviously that wouldn't be a problem, but I do. And to me, I don't think putting it in a middle grade book, granted, Brian, one of the 3 main characters, he was like reading the rules and like how to be safe and such. So she did include that, but I don't know, I just didn't like that. And the whole thing, like with the parents just letting them interact with this strange man, was weird to me. But overall, I really enjoyed it. Loved the vibes. I liked the way it played out. And I'm really looking forward to the next one based on where this left off. I will also say we're getting perspective it's third person, but we're getting perspective. We're following Coco and Ollie. And I wish we had also followed Brian, because at one point they're all separated and you're getting back and forth between Coco and Ollie, but it's like, well, what about Brian? What's going on with him? So I do wish it had all three perspectives and we're following all three, not just the two girls. But yeah, overall, I really enjoy this. I think it's great for middle grade horror. It has good vibes. It's not too much. And had a great time with it. So 4 stars is where I'm landing on with this. I did sit outside for only about like 15, 20 minutes, maybe. I think it was more like 15. And I was very proud of myself because I really struggle going outdoors in the summertime. Um, there's tarantula hawks. I'm sure if I include that clip, there's one that flew past me and like I like put up the book, and later on there was another one that flew past me, and they don't really care about you, but if you're in their line of where they're going, like they're going like that's their line, and so that always like freaks me out. There was a little bunny rabbit that just sat there the whole time while I sat there, and so that was enjoyable. We have like these little, there's lots of bugs in the desert. They're like these little red, they almost remind me of fleas, but they're not fleas. I don't know what they are. But we have them, and when you're outside, like they'll get on you, and so I had to keep swatting them. But I lasted until my husband came. Like I told myself, I'll stay out here until he comes and tells me dinner's ready. And so that's what I did. So I was very proud of myself for that because I really struggle with that in the summertime. And it was nice. Like the sun was going down and there was a little breeze and it cooled off. Still hot, but it had cooled off. And so I did enjoy sitting out there for a little bit, getting some fresh air. But it was a little bit of a struggle. I did. So when you guys saw me, I was knitting the project I had already started, and I decided to restart it because I realized I was doing two different stitches for the two different colors. And so I just kind of did a few lines just to kind of get back in the groove of things. Some of my stitches were too tight, some of them too loose. So I just kind of did that, and then I took it all apart and started over. And so but it was really nice. I miss stitching, and so I'm doing. I can't. I think when you go, so if you go behind like this, it's a knit stitch, I believe. Where when you go in front, it's a purl stitch, I believe. And so I'm just going back and forth. I do 2 stitches of each color, and so yeah, I took it all apart, and then this is how far I got. I don't know how many rows it was. I wasn't keeping track, but this is how far I got after I took it all apart. So I definitely want to keep up with it. I haven't knit. I don't think I've knitted since we moved into this house, which is going on 8 years now. I want to. Well, no, we're gonna be no 6. Yeah, 8. It's been 8 years that we've lived in this house. So that's a long time I haven't knitted, and I was really enjoying it. Once I kind of got back into the flow, what you guys saw was not very smooth, and like I said, some of my stitches were too tight, so it wasn't sliding along the needle very well. Some of them were too loose, and so I'm glad I decided just to take it apart, and now I can start fresh, and hopefully I can keep up with knitting. It was nice to just listen to the audiobook and knit in here. So yeah, pretty successful. Little another roll for reads. The book was a lot simpler than the other 2 books, but I still really enjoyed the experience of, you know, being very mindful of where I was reading and how I was reading. It was hard for me to do the audiobook. Normally, if I'm doing the audiobook, I'm not sitting in a specific location, I'm doing chores and such. So that was a little difficult for me, but I really like doing these roles for reading. And I had my butter bread I shared with Nidra. She's behind you guys, all curled up sleeping, but of course she got her crust. She didn't get any of the buttered parts, but I enjoyed my snack and shared it with her. And I enjoyed, being mindful of the different locations and how I was reading and everything like that. So it will definitely be another one of these. Yeah, it was another great experience. I would love to know if you've read any Katherine Arden, because I did read her adult or young adult, maybe, the Winter Night trilogy, which I really loved as well. And I really been enjoying this. Like, this is the second book in the middle grade series, but I've enjoyed both of them. So if you read her or anything like that, I would love to know that down in the comments below, or what book you're currently reading. If you just want to let me know you're here and you're helping to support the channel by commenting, you can always leave a rabbit or any type of animal emoji. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys here. Happy reading, everyone. Bye.